With a third and a fourth place finish, the chaos of recent weeks in Kamel has left Fabian Jungbluth leading the GTP points. But on the GTO side, Reed Miller has stepped up, and his victory has helped boost him well ahead of his rivals. VIR is not a track known for being kind to those who overstep its bounds. So will we see more fast drivers suffering DNFs? We'll find out soon as we get ready to watch round 3 of the iRacing Kamel GT series. And you'll see it all live here on the global SimRacing channel. Hi, I'm Joe Peak, and with me in the booth is Robert O'Brien. Behind the scenes is our director, Zach Johnson, and he's using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. Virginia International Raceway's rebirth at the turn of the century has given sports cars a brilliant home here in Appalachia. Let's head to our track guide to find out more about it. Welcome to Virginia International Raceway. This track near the southern border of its namesake has had the rare blessing of being resurrected from the dead. With 2 decades of use in its modern incarnation, and visits from IMSA and Trans Am, it's safe to say that VIR is back and thriving. The owners didn't skimp on refurbishing the place either. An impressive 7 versions are available to run on iRacing, with viewing areas that include posh villas near South Bend that can be rented by fans. The track's long and complex layout has earned it some colorful corner names too. The horseshoe kicks things off right away with a never-ending double apexer that tends to suck the greedy out into its runoff. Later on, fast cars lacking downforce are sent through the terrifying climbing S's and spit out of the steep drop of South Bend. Of course, there's perhaps the most famous turn of Oak Tree, which has sadly lost its eponymous flora in real life, but is retained here in the virtual world. Let's not forget one of the scariest obstacles at the end of the lap, the roller coaster. The incredible speed drivers carry up into this blind braking zone is what causes it to require such immense bravery in order to get the most out of a lap. As you'd expect, the high number of corners makes passing rather difficult. Add in the fact that many of them are dangerously swift, and track position can wind up being a major factor in races. With the picturesque backdrop of the Appalachians around them, fans are not left wanting when they come to watch drivers face off at this historic track. It's no wonder the circuit has found success in its second chance at life. Rob, this is a place that I have to confess has not treated me well, but I know there are many drivers who are big fans of this place.
It's not the easiest track on the calendar for these lads, even though it does have a very long straight past Oak Tree, especially given the fact that the first 10 turns of this place are going to be very technical, very challenging for the lads. They're going to be absolutely on the pedals, throttle inputs, brake inputs, trying to wheel the cars as best they can. It's 17 turns, but as I said, or at least alluded to before, the first 10 or 11 are going to be very critical. Once they get up to Oak Tree, then it's essentially just a arrow straight down into 13 and 14. Around 15, 16, and 17 onto the main straight. That's where we're going to see a lot of slipstream battles if the GTPs are going to have any, and especially GTOs, because they'll have plenty of time to go side by side past each other, especially given the fact that I think it's about 800 meters, that back straight, and a 3.27 mile circuit, 5.2 kilometers. We're going to see a lot today.
Absolutely. And, well, we've seen a lot in the championship so far, especially with the prototypes. As we mentioned, Fabian Jungbluth leading the way. Not by much, though. Ove Trangerade still back there in second, only 3 points back. But Krejcik, Hovdal, Haycox have been a bit up and down, and they are very tight. In fact, you see that tie there for fourth and fifth. Well, it involves 5 cars. Mosquera, Olsen, and Sintez Gindo were not able to fit on our graphics. So it could easily change up at the front here for our GTP championship. We also have the GTOs. Rob, how's that one sitting?
It's actually sitting quite a bit further apart. We don't have the same sort of clump as we do in the GTPs, but it's still there. It's still there. But Reed Miller, with that surprise win that last time around, he's actually pushed himself all the way up to the top into first position with 45 points. Jamie Hamill-Smith not too far behind, though, with just 8-point deficit at 37. Niels Kaur 36, one behind. And then Boifia in fourth, being chased by Oren Laskin in fifth. Now, it is the biggest earner from that was Laskin from that last round. He gained 5 positions from that last round, so he is looking like he wants to go even further.
And, well, as you mentioned, it was craziness last round with Miller getting that surprise win. He didn't even realize it until afterwards. Hopefully we'll understand exactly what is going to be happening this time, as we have a traditional 40-minute race once again here in round 3. And as always, it's open setups with no spare car waiting for them if they damage it. So you got to deal with what you got if you run into something or someone. Now, they also have a drive-through penalty at 17 incidents if you do hit something or someone, and disqualification at 25 incidents. But again, not a track with paved runoff in many places. So if you do rack up those incident points, you're likely to get some damage somewhere since you're probably going to be sliding into the barrier at some stage. I see Hugh Haycox has the provisional pole in the prototypes. We're still waiting for the GTOs to set their first times. Michael Springer, actually a whopping 1.6 seconds off of Hugh, and Jungbluth and Gabbiani are quickly displacing him, going into third and second respectively.
Yeah, the GTOs are just about to come around. Jimmy Hamilton-Smith whacking in a time there of a 1:48, and then Ian Haycox and Reid Miller both reply by being a second faster in Reid Miller's case, 1:47, 1:03. It's absolutely blitzed the timing scoreboards. Andre Schumacher attempting to claw back some points as well. He's just whacked in a 1:47, 5:18, and he is on the charge as well. So we don't have it's actually a very GTP heavy field, so these guys are going to have to be very, very mindful. Try and whack in a great time and get going before the GTP start coming through in that first run.
That's not good news for the GTOs. Whenever we have more of the prototypes, it tends to make it very difficult and annoying for them out there. As we watch yet more of our drivers down and across the line. Hisada's up on the front row right now. This has been a pretty good day for him, as he's already taken a podium over in Detroit with the Lotus 49 Grand Prix Legend Series. We'll see if he can go just that one faster. You see him coming down towards the roller coaster now. Very blind, breaking into that corner. The number 4 takes it successfully. So this is looking good for the moment.
Yeah, and you can just see that it's very technical sections here on board with Togo Hisada as he's trying to navigate onto the start-finish straight. He is going to be a 1:32 ballpark. Ooh, puts it at 0.3 better. But where does he end up? Just a little bit faster, I think. He puts it into second.
So he stays where he is, but yeah, got within a 10th. I'm not seeing anybody that looks like they're likely to challenge Hisada on that one. I just see Sintes Galindo crossing his first lap, unfortunately deleted. He should have enough time to get around for a second one. And in the meantime, let's see, who have we got here on screen that look like potentially Kreacherik.
Car number 8, that's going to be Ian Haycox. He's already completed his 2 laps. Mark Ole just completed his, going into 8th for the number 20. And I think they're just trying to sort each other out. Hideki Koivisto puts himself into 6th. From Security goes into, I think he's just about to cross the line. Here he is on screen. Does he go faster? He does. 1:47.738. Where does that place him? Into 3rd.
Nicely done. So that is excellent there for the 18. Hideki Koivisto to a 48.2. That'll be 6th place for him. See Simo Raba come across. He improves up to 12th position. Joseph Mudrak going to be the next one across the line. 35.1 for him. That's quicker, but he stays in 14th, unfortunately. Kreacherik's off course, so his second lap isn't going to count no matter what. Michael Haynes and Sintes Galindo will be the last 2 able to cross the line.
And Galindo is going to have a bit of a challenge if he doesn't get this one right, because he's not got any laps in. If he scuppers his chances this time around, he is going to be, as they say, in the oof zone, as he puts it into 3rd.
Wow. Oh, good thing he was able to get that in. And I said that I don't think anybody would get close to Hisada. Aitor was within 1,000th of him, but just shy. So it could be a good battle for P2, even potentially the lead, depending on what happens to Hugh up there. It looks like that is all of our drivers able to qualify here today. I don't see any else on track able to set a time. Let's go through the starting order with, as I mentioned, Hugh Haycox putting it onto the pole. Togo Hisada, could he potentially get a win here? I think it'd be his first on the broadcast races of any series we've covered him in. Aitor Sintez Galindo will start from third, as Laust Olsen will be fourth. Then you've got Martin Krejcik in P5. Gabbiani starts in sixth, and Fabian Jungbluth, our championship leader, is down in seventh. Michael Springer starts eighth today. He'll be followed by Ove Trangre, a little far down for him, unusually there in ninth. John Keefe rounds out your top 10. On to the next slide. It is Douglas Cloud starting in 11th. Michel de Jong will be in P12 as Pablo Suarez starts 13th. Christian Weil will be 14th with Mudrack in 15th. To his outside, Stefan Leslie is then followed by the last of our GTPs, John Cope.
And to GTOs, Reed Miller is going to be starting in the number 2 on pole position with Ian Haycox right beside him. And we go down the order. It's going to be Jamie Hamill-Smith in third. Oh, correction, that's not going to be Ian Haycox in third. It's actually going to be Andre Schumacher in second, Franco Scuri in third, Ian Haycox in fourth position, Marty Ole in fifth, Hideki Visto in sixth. Seventh is going to be Camilo Miranda, and eighth going to be Jamie Hamill-Smith. Ninth is going to be Mark Ole, and 10th is going to be Oren Laskin. 11th, Mika Tupola. 12th, Simo Raba in 13th. Michael Haynes, he's got a lot of work to do to get back up through that field. And finally rounding out, going to be Andre Duteau in 14th.
Well, just to add to the difficulties of today, even though the clouds have come out, it's the middle of the day here in Virginia, so the track is quite hot, 100 degrees Fahrenheit. Not the worst we've seen, but pretty toasty. This place is so narrow, Rob, and with two classes trying to navigate at the same time, that slippery surface is not going to make life fun for them.
Well, it also depends on what the humidity is as well, Joe, because as we do know, humidity does play a part. It's actually dry, or sort of, well, relatively dry in terms of, yeah, dry for us. But I think anybody living in the Nevada desert would like to disagree, as they probably have closer to 20 or 30% humidity. But if we scroll over to the Celsius portions, what the real temperature gauges are looking at, it's going to be 38 degrees Celsius, an extremely hot track for VIR. Well, I mean, it's extremely hot track, period, but for VIR and its narrow raceways, we go through now the actual track circuit itself. We're coming up to the very, very difficult S's of VIR, especially given that it's very narrow. It's not like Suzuka, where you actually have plenty of room. You can see there now when we're on board our helicopter, we're looking down on the track, then you can see it's not really wide enough for side-by-side action going down here.
Exactly, through the snake and then through the climbing S's as well here, that you'll see it certainly just is very fast and very narrow and also quite blind. You can't see it obviously from above, but it rises and dips a couple times through here until they reach South Bend. So if any of the battling prototypes come upon traffic in there, it could really cost somebody either a position or a chance at a position, no doubt. And across South Bend, they then take a little run through the valley and it's back up through the oak tree. Rest in peace. It might be still here in the virtual world, but and unfortunately is no longer a feature there at that corner.
Oh, did they knock it down?
Oh, you did not know?
No.
So a couple years ago, a big rainstorm unfortunately weakened the dirt around it, and it fell over. So it is gone. However, one of the owners, the track owner's sons, this is a true story, took one of the seeds and brought it home. And so they have the junior version replanted on the outside of the circuit, and they're growing a new one. So
it's oak tree in spirit.
Yes, well, it's Oak Tree Junior, basically. Yes, I love that they were able to do that, because they didn't have anything from it at the time. They didn't think they'd be able to grow a new one out of it with the original passing away. And then just so happened that a few months or a couple years earlier, one of the owner's sons had managed to replant one of his own. And so they moved it back to the track. And now Oak Tree will live on, just not on the inside of the corner. So as we come to the exit of Hogpen, the Porsche pace car is going to release Hugh Haycox with Toga Hisada on his outside, hoping to deny him a victory here today. There goes the pace car, waiting for it, looking for the green flag, and now he takes away, and Hisada was caught napping. Here comes the likes of Sintez Galindo to his inside as they accelerate towards the horseshoe. He might have second place away from him, which could be critical. 3 wide behind them. Some of the drivers going in very deep, but it looks like we are clean with the prototypes. Let's go to the GTOs.
I wish I could say the same story. Reid Miller and Andre Schumacher getting into it at the start of that race. I can describe it to you now. Oh, they were coming around into the technical final few turns, and they just collided with each other. Absolutely pandemonium has put Francois Scurry into first position. Hideki Kovisto gets a promotion up into second, with Ian Haycox having to fend off third for Martioli, and oh, really, he is having a hard time with it. I think Andre Schumacher and Reid Miller are going to have some after-race thoughts with each other.
And Reid Miller's likely going to lose the championship lead unless he has an incredible climb through the field from here as we continue to watch Hugh Haycox now ahead of Sintez Galindo, who's managed to move into second. I'm trying to remember if we've ever seen Franco Scurry take a win here in the Kamel series. He's been a long-time veteran, though he's stepped away a couple times to deal with some health issues. But the 18 right now has got an excellent chance to try and snatch a win.
He just needs to keep pulling away from Hideki Kovisto. As long as he can get out of the slipstream range, he's 1.2 seconds ahead and actually still climbing away. Oh, just a very little bit, but Hideki Kovisto still has the edge on terms of getting a little bit of a tow. So he's able to close the gap along that long straight. And so I described, I think it's about 800 meters.
We got to go to second. We got to go to second in the prototypes because Hisada's having a go at Sintez Galindo, and he just about got him. Didn't defend, but Aitor managed to keep him behind.
And you can just see as the GTPs scroll through the first part, that's going to be NASCAR corner that are going by into turn 4 and 5, and then they come up to the technical sections. I think everybody's, oh, crikey, that's going to be Gianluca Gabbiani. Sorry, he's actually gone off just on his own. I think he just had a little tap or something, but he definitely had a few. Oh!
And he enters ahead of Pablo Suarez as he gets turned around. Now for sure he hits something. Yeah, he spun himself and left hook all on his own. Gets the car turned around. Well, maybe he didn't hit the wall. Car looks fine.
He didn't hit the wall, but he hit another car, and that's not going to be. It's still not. Oh, crikey! We've had another guy going off at Oak Tree. Oh, former Oak Tree Martin Kraytrick. He's gone as well.
And that one, I'm pretty certain he went into the tires. He's going to be a little slow down the backstretch as he gets it back up to speed. Wow! So it wasn't the first lap we had to worry about; it was the second one. And someone going off track as we now look at Fabian Jungbluth on a charge up to 5th as he overtakes Laust Olsen. Jungbluth has managed to go from 7th up to P5, and he wants to try and hold on to this championship lead.
Well, he's also got John Keefe to battle with because they're just about a second ahead of Fabian. And he's gained, or John Keefe rather, has gained 6 positions already. And that's going to be the problem with it. And look at this, side by side into NASCAR. Fabian with Laust Olsen. Laust is not wanting to further his issues. He's already lost 2 positions. He's down into 6. He does not want to go any further than he has to, and he's trying to keep with these boys.
Yeah, he tried to fight back as best he could in a horseshoe. It just didn't work out. And as we look at John Keefe now just ahead of them, he's kind of found a little bit of space on his own, so I'm sure he'd love them to keep battling so he can focus forward to see if he can catch Hisada for a podium today, which would be a marked improvement on his previous results so far this season. We haven't been missing much in the GTOs. Scurry still leads Koivisto and Ian Haycox, though they are somewhat close together. There's not really been much in the way of battles.
And it's not. It's going to be set of phase 3 in Acox because he needs to keep the car planted. Hideki had an absolutely magnificent start, an electrolytically charged start, if you will. But he also has the issues of he's chasing somebody, but he's also got somebody else behind him who wants to play ball. He can only play ball with one person at a time. And if crikey, that's going to be the car of Andre Schumacher. Charging back through the field. He is a man on a massive mission to try and get as far up ahead as possible. He is absolutely putting his right foot down to the floor.
That was Tupola that he overtook for 8th place, so he might be able to get back up into this. Reed Miller, unfortunately, his damage was too much. He's been sitting in the pit since then. And Jungbluth just went off. Jungbluth is tumbling down the order. He got into a battle with Laust Olsen again. Another side-by-side, but this one did not end well.
You just see, I'm just looking at the replay right now, and he came into turn 2. And he overcooked it all on his own. He cracks under pressure. Unfortunate. And then he spins. It makes it even worse as well. He was trying to get back onto the track, and then the car was just like, nope, you really need to calm down and get back going.
So Ove Trangerade is probably the best place to take the championship lead as it sits now. Then Jungbluth is all the way back to 14th. Let's take a look at the replay.
Coming into turn,
no one
turn
close
2,
to him.
Just bang, and then you can see that he's trying to get back onto the track, and then the car just goes whoop.
It bounced on him in a way that he didn't like, and around it goes. And where is Krejcik right now? He's well down the order, so he's not going to be up there. And Hovdal isn't here today. Hugh Haycox, actually, he could potentially overtake Trangerade because he's leading the race. So this is going to be topsy-turvy yet again. This has been a bonkers season here in Camel, which is saying something because they usually are rather unpredictable. But we're watching there in the mid-pack of these prototypes is coming back up. Pablo Suarez trying to get 10th place away from Christian Veal.
And you just see it's basically a stick of them. That's another car gone off. That's going to be Douglas Cloud. Douglas Cloud's gone completely off track and has lost all the ground that he made up. He's actually lost 3 positions. He had a net gain of 2 and has lost 5 positions with that one mistake. And that's all it can do to your race. One mistake can cost you absolutely bucket loads.
Well, it gave Jungbluth at least one of his back, so now he's up to 12th. There you can see the blue and white car has also gotten past Stefan Leslie. So he's set on his way to see if he can at least crack back into the top 10 before this race is over. I can tell you that Jamie Hamill-Smith was able to overtake Marco Lay. So that's 5th place for the 12 car in the GTOs. Now he's got to make up almost 5 seconds to get to the next car up in that class. As we take a look at the 8, trying to fend off Marty Olay. This is for the last step on the podium.
Yeah, and also for Franco Scuri, he has got a problem because he's got Hideki Visto behind him, looking to see if he can upset the Alpha car, get him past. He's actually closed that gap from about 1.2 to about 10 tenths of a second. And Ian Acox is right in the middle of a pack he does not want to be in. He wants to actually be as far ahead as possible. And it's just not going to work out for him. By the way, Oren Laskin, who started in the pits, has already gained up into 10th. You know, he actually qualified 10th on the boards. But he is already, due to the fact that other people have had issues, I think he's been counting his lucky stones that he didn't take to the start, and he started from the pits, but he is gone.
That's a bit strange here in the GTOs because Miller obviously is out of it. And then Niels Kor and Caradine Buffia did not show today. Oren Laskin, as you mentioned, started from pit lane, so he's trying to climb his way up. If anything, Hamill-Smith, who's second in the points, is sitting the best in 5th on the track. As this is for the lead, something must have held up Hugh Haycox because Sintez Galindo is now right underneath that rear wing.
I can tell you right now what held up. That was a GTO, and it came through at the worst possible time into the oak tree. The 2 corners of oak tree absolutely holding him up like a cork stopper in a beer bottle. Do you put cork stoppers in beer bottles? You put it in wine bottles. But the same effect has happened. It's it's really backed up Hugh Haycox, and Aitor actually has the best seat in the house right now. He's got Slipstream. He's got Hugh Haycox right in front of him. He's got the ballpark measure to get him into first position. He has got the big old playbook, and he's going to play it very well.
And Hesada's nowhere near him anymore. He's dropped back by about 5 seconds. So after looking like he was going to be fighting for the win potentially, Togo's suddenly out of the equation. There you see him coming into NASCAR Bend now. They're going to be approaching a lot of the GTO traffic because they're getting up to Miranda as well as Olay here in the mid-pack. Will this play a part? And this is coming up to the climbing S's. Here we go.
Oh, and Hugh Haycox is really trying to, he's getting by them as best he can. And oh, hold on to your hats and hold on to your magnifying glasses. Oh, crikey. He comes past just before 03. Oh, I think he was probably screaming in that car to stay right, please. I'm trying to get past.
And since Galindo had a huge evasive maneuver through South Bend himself, that lost him some time, up to 2.5 seconds.
Actually, yeah, it was very risky, but it's paid off dividends because Aitor did not want. Aitor's not, he's not going to risk a biscuit. He's going to stick in his place, and if he has to make the move, but make the move a bit more safe. I think Haycox is just trying to get past ASAP. I mean, both are valid methods of racing, but there's a lot riskier move for Haycox to do it as he's coming up into another group. He's slowed down again.
Yeah, this is the battle for second here. That is Hideki Koivisto with Ian Haycox all over the back of him. Hugh Haycox, there he goes. Looks like the younger Haycox is able to get by, almost gets into the back of Hideki Koivisto, just finds a space on the track. That separates the battle for P2 briefly. Oh, and our leader's off. That is our leader in the GTOs, Franco Scurry, throwing it away.
Scurry, no, he went too far wide coming into 6 and then just went off. Oh my goodness gracious. Down into 7th, all gone wrong for it. Fabian Lumbluth has gone off again. Oh no.
Again, it's in the same corner.
Oh, goodness gracious.
It's all kicking off here at once. So a championship leader in the prototypes loses more places yet again. Our leader in the GTOs falls to 7th. That means that Hideki Koivisto is now your leader in that GTO class, but barely. And look at the cars having to weave. That is Sintez Galindo, who is now 7 seconds behind Hugh Haycox.
And also another point of shame, Andre Schumacher. Accident, having to tow. He's retired the car. His days are done. Oh, it's all kicking off.
I asked the question on if it was going to be more chaos today with drivers making mistakes. I'm getting a firm yes based on how it's going so far.
Oh, it's Kamel. These cars are not like the modern cars. They are very, very unforgiving. If you think driving a shopping car is unforgiving, driving one of these, you'd be glad to see that a shopping car can at least, have the essence of trying to go around the corner in a consistent and configurable way. These cars are just such on edge. If you try and drive them as fast as possible, they snap at you, they bite at you, and you're basically a passenger 90% trying to keep it under control.
This is Trangrade in the red and blue. That's Michel de Jong just behind him, giving chase for the 6th position currently in the GTP class through left hook and now into the snake. De Jong has been hounding him but hasn't been able to find an opportunity as they approach Marty Ollie. Is that going to maybe open up the door for the orange 23?
Could, but it is the same issue again. Do you take the less risky route or do you take the more risky route? As Ove Trangrade's taking a more risky route, Michel de Jong taking the less risky route as he's
boxed
sneaks. Oh, crikey. Oh, no, that's Ove Trangrade. Ove Trangrade's gone off. He's in the wall. No, it's all gone wrong.
A pitiful slow slide into the tires for Ove Trangere gifts that 6th place to Michel de Jong. I don't think he hit it too hard, so I think he should be okay, but I'm sure his ego is bruised from that one.
Oh, and it's more than that as well, because he has that slow slide, and it's like it's the most punishing of slides because the car can't control it. I mean, they are slick. So I don't think they've added the dirt rallying pack for the GTP ever. I don't think the floor would take it, but it's just when it happens, it happens. You just have to be along for the ride. As you can see here, this is going to be a battle just up ahead of them. I think that's a battle for P8 as Michael Springer is trying to fend off Martin Krejcik as they come through traffic into 1-0.
This is getting between the battle for the lead and the GTOs, and all of them are trying to find some space. Yes, they are all racing their own race, getting to the back of Springer. Martin Krejcik gives a little punch to the rear of that purple car. Thankfully, no spin between them. Not sure how much damage it put on as he almost now makes contact with Hideki Koivisto, our leader in the GTOs.
Ove Trangere trying to get past. Look at him. He's charged right back. I don't think he's learned his mistake, though. The mistake of being too aggressive and trying to get past at the wrong time. He's actually learned his lesson this time. He's holding it right behind Martin Krejcik as they come through the S's. Martin Krejcik is going to be absolutely trying to keep the car behind him. He does not want to lose anymore.
So the position stayed the same in the GTO cars through there as Trangere looking to recover. This will be for 9th place if he can manage to overtake Krejcik. Just sizing him up. Oh, and he's getting ever closer here down the backstretch.
By the way, we missed one thing, or I think we missed one thing. Ian Haycock's now back up towards 2nd place. He's actually made the pass on Martioli. He's now challenging Hideki Koivisto for the lead, and the traffic has now actually started playing to his favor. As long as he can keep as close as he can to Hideki Koivisto, he'll be happy out. But it's getting to the technical S's again. Hold on to your hats. Oh!
Big check up there. That was Pablo Suarez, and Fabian Jungbluth just behind him. Thought Jungbluth would have a good shot to try and overtake. He's only in 14th after his 2nd mistake of the day. In this very corner, the horseshoe. Oh, and he goes wide again.
And Martin Krejcik, just up the road from them, is having to pull off a defense of the century. He's absolutely being swamped. Oh, crikey, that's Fabian Jungbluth having to tell Fabian or Pablo Suarez to, go away from his P13. He stands 6 positions. He's in the same boat as Martin Krejcik. Doesn't want to lose anymore.
So back up to 13th now for Fabian Jungbluth, having to do this route multiple times, it seems. And we jump over to Trangere yet again, who looks very strong compared to Krejcik off the corner. Martin just going to stay off to the side. He knows that Ove's got the legs on him. Doesn't look like he's going to fight it.
It's a very long straight to fight it, especially given the fact that you get into this left-hander. It is very difficult to try and nail it side by side, and you have it's sort of like the bus stop on Brands Hatch, where you're going at it in incredible speeds, and it's a right-hander into it's a left-hander into a right-hander. Actually, sorry, it's sort of mirrored, but it's still the same principle. It is quite difficult to set it in side by side. You have to be very careful. When we come back to the lead, that is going to be the lead on the GTOs between Hideki Koivisto and Ian Haycock's car 18 versus car 8 versus car number 13 as they come through. That is going to be on towards the straight. Yeah, it is. Start in the straight final corner. Ian Haycock's 0.2 of a second.
Ian's got a good slipstream here. This is the elder of the two Haycockses, on track right now in differing classes. He shows his nose, but he's not close enough to outbreak Koivisto this time by. Hideki's doing quite a magnificent job, I must say. Yes, he had some of the faster cars taken out in front of him at the very beginning, but after it fell in his lap, he hasn't given it up yet. It looks like he's going to have to work hard for it from here on out because Ian Haycock continues to get very close to our camera on his bumper.
And you can I think Haycock is trying his absolute damn the best. Try and get past wherever he can, because he knows the S's are absolutely impossible to try and get past. Going into 7, into 8, into 9, into 10.
Through South Bend as well now. If those two start fighting, don't count out Ollie in the 19, because he is only behind by about a half second himself. Everybody slowing up here into Oak Tree. A lot of inside curb for Haycox, and I think that maybe cost him some grip.
And he's going to be, he's going to be in the lap now of Martioli. Don't discount the car number 19, because he is still there, and he's already starting to size up. If any Haycox makes a mistake again on that corner around Oak Tree, does Martioli have the opportunity to strike as he come back? Oh, that's going to be very, very close between John Keefe and Togo Hisada. Car number 4 and car number 15 coming through, and oh dear, coming up into, I think that is going to be Oak.
That is Oak Tree. Yeah, Hisada got held up big time through the S's, and John Keefe was able to close him down because of that. This is for the last step on the podium. Togo now behind the overall leader by 16 seconds. That tells you how important dealing with the traffic is, because he didn't seem that far off the pace from Haycox at the start of this race.
Well, it is going to be Keefe's race to win, really. He's already gained 6 positions. He wasn't the all-out favorite to have a great race, but he's already put himself in the good books, I think. We see back on our screens Dicky Govisto. Oh, Ian Haycox once again looking very much like he wants to get past, cutting the grass there. Very, very finely tuned cutting grass there. They're not tractors, that is reserved for the Audi R18, but they're still doing very well in terms of corners. Each of these 3 guys not wanting to give up an inch.
I'm sure some of the drivers would argue they steer like tractors at times as they come out of Oak Tree and down the straight. Haycox gets within almost a car length at times, but can't seem to attack. John Cope, gonna have all 3 of them. Yep, looks like he is through, so thankfully won't have to interrupt this here through the roller coaster and hog pen as they all break once again, getting ready to start lap 13, and we're already past halfway through this race.
40-minute race, 18 minutes left on the clock, as we are just trying now to navigate with these lads. The final few turns on to 17, pass onto the finish straight. Ian Haycox is still drifting. Oh crikey, that is going to be I think that is going to be the car number 21, Camilo Miranda.
And Ollie, yeah. And whoa, that is Mudrack. Unfortunately, he said that there's no rally tires yet for the Nissans, but he didn't get the memo as he absolutely launched it into the air.
And he is actually about to be lapped by car number 4. That was Togo Hisada on these screens. And Ove Trangrade, by the way, just to name him, he's actually storming back towards the top 5. He's been absolutely launching himself up there, and he's passed now Michael Springer. Car number 16 got past just on that long start straight. He is a man on a mission. He's actually the fastest, or the second fastest car there on the track, third now, as Aitor Sintez and Togo Hisada both are doing 34s and are charging as fast as they can.
You know, the possibility of a father and son winning duo on the channel, which I don't think we've ever had here, is still on the offering. Because look at Ian Haycox. He's challenging Koivisto. Every time we glance back there, it's still within half a second. If the traffic goes wrong, or if Koivisto puts a foot out of bounds at any stage, you can bet that that green 8 is going to pounce.
Yeah, it's going to be quite difficult for these guys, because they'll have now, what will happen is they'll have groups of 1 or 2 GTOs rather than the group of about 5 or 6 coming past them at one go. You can see there, that is going to be GTP passing them by. Oh, on around the outside goes Hugh Haycox as he tries to not get held up any further and passing them at the exact right time on the start finish straight. but it is going to hold up Hideki Kovisto because he's having to navigate the fact that the car is now ahead of him, and he is now in the clutches of Ian Haycox.
Was that a Mansell helmet on Hugh Haycox that I noticed?
I think it was. I think it was Marty Ole that had it.
We were on board with the prototype as he was going by on the front stretch. We'll check it. Here it is. Yeah.
Yeah, it was Marty Ole. Guy in the back.
Well then, that is not at all what I expected. Where is he hailing from? Actually, I need to double check. Club Iberia. Okay, interesting. Must be a big Mansell fan then. Usually I'd expect that from a British driver. But in the meantime, Ian Haycox still sandwiched between Marty and Hideki. And they're going to get interrupted briefly by Sintes Galindo. But thankfully, it's happening up the long stretch towards Roller Coaster.
And you can just see now, even though this back stretch is quite wide, it's still quite narrow in terms of actual race cars, because it's really only good enough for too wide at a stretch, and they have to be very, very sort of negotiable at the too wide, having to give each other plenty of room. It's quite dangerous, and especially through here, through the bus stop and through the final few corners to come back into the start finish. This is practically the only time where you can actually go side by side without having to look in your mirrors and to your right constantly.
As you've noticed, the sun has been out since we started this race. As a look to the inside from Marty on Ian Haycox. He's going to try and take that second place. He finds the apex and then just has to drift out around the double apexer, and Ian Haycox gets shoved aside.
Ian Haycox having to leave the door open as wide as he can, and he's got bigger problems as well because he's got the prototype in his rearview mirrors and has decided at this very moment of time to pass him on the inside, and he's got another prototype. That's going to be, I think that is going to be
John Keefe.
John Keefe, as he's trying to get past. He's got Lars Olsen right behind him. He's not got a chance. Oh dear. As Togo Hisada, that's the top GTP in that group right there. He's gotten well past these guys. Going to have an absolute lap to the piggy bank and have his way with things. As oh crikey, oh dear.
Keefe almost going off at South Bend. That allowed briefly for Olsen to catch them, and now he has also dropped back. That fight so fierce. They know that's the fight for the lead. They know they really can't risk their races, but they also got to try and make as much time as they can. And finally they're through, but they're all three separated, at least in that fight for third and GTP. All it has done in the GTOs is allow Hideki Koivisto to breathe a sigh of relief, being far up ahead. As we check back into Kreitschek here.
Yeah, Kreitschek having a not so nice present right behind his rearview mirrors. He's got three cars for position to battle with: Fabian Jungblut, Gianluca Gabbiani, and Pablo Suarez. Not in correct order, but they are going to ruin his day order, because Martin Kreitschek is actually the slowest car on that group. Did a 137.366 last lap, with Gianluca Gabbiani at 135, as were the other two drivers of Jungblut and Pablo Suarez. He has got his hands full trying to keep them behind him. They caught up to him, and now it's game on for P10.
Yeah, we have to remember that Gabbiani and Jungblut are out of position here, so they're likely to have more pace and better braking power. Holy cow! How did Gabbiani get that car in there? He was miles back and just said, screw it, let's chuck it in.
He probably was shouting at the car to brake, because that was a absolutely, I'm pretty sure he went and stamped on the brake, and until the point where it was about to lock up, and just tried slowing down as much as possible. And he's actually navigated it at the very perfect time. I don't think he would have actually fully appreciated that move, but he's actually gone past at a very good point. And we're going to have Martin Kreitschek under pressures coming through the S's, coming into 6, into 7, into 8, into 9, sliding around, trying to keep it at good pace for number 10.
Into Oak Tree. Looks like he's good for the time being, but he's got to get a good exit. He's a little off the apex. Jungblut caught up a bit, but will he have the slipstream? These cars not known for giving off a big toe, frankly.
If he was about a tenth further up, he might have been able to. By the way, I do want to cut back into the battle for third because
Hisada, he's under attack.
Hisada not only under attack, he's lost the position. Oh no, that's car number 13. No, Hideki Kovisto, he's had an accident. What's happened to him? No, not like this, not another champion going on or race winner going off.
Yeah, and it was his own mistake yet again in Hogpin. Just slid wide, and Ian Haycox would have been leading this race, but now that Marty has passed him, he is our leader.
No, Ian Haycox!
And Haycox goes off, so Marty might be the last man standing after this.
No, not again.
Done. Hold on to it, buddy.
Hold the wheel very close to your chest. Grip it with all your might. Keep it on the road, on the tarmac. Ian Haycox is now 3 seconds down to Martioli. I cannot believe it. Martioli just needs to keep it on the track for the next 10 minutes. That's all he needs to do. He's got the same pace as everybody else around him. He didn't think that he would be the race leader, but now he is.
Unbelievable. And this is all down to everybody else's mistakes. Not to discredit Marty, but basically everybody else around him has fallen off the log. He's just kind of held steady as we now look at Trangarade once again. Now, how far up has he gotten here? He's fighting for 7th with Veal.
And it's just, ooh dear. That's the best thing I can say. It's an ooh dear, because it's pandemonium across the grid, as you can see. That is going to be our boys in Ove Trangrade and Christian Wheel in their GTP toys. And coming down, it's turn 1 passing the GTO on the inside. Ove has a lot of work to get into 7th, back up into 3rd though. John Keefe is still fending off Togo Usada, and now Alois Olsen has joined the fray.
Yeah, we had so much happening all at the same time. I was trying to get us to both of us were trying to get to the battle between Keefe and Hisada, and suddenly we lost both of our leaders and GTO. So yes, John Keefe made the pass into the horseshoe and has gotten into 3rd past Togo. What a run this has been for John, up from 10th on the grid. Looks like the Japanese driver's trying his best to fight back. He's at least got him within his sights. So he takes a big look. I didn't think that one was going to work.
Oh, well, he almost was also given a look by Leo Stolzen, who saw the move sort of being telegraphed right in front of his eyes and thought he might try a double whammy, a double bluff, and try and put Togo Isada basically on the outside for the bus stop, which would have been exceptionally slow for him. But we're now looking on board with Togo Isada as he's looking at the rear end of John Keefe coming into turn 1. There's nothing. Oh, well, I say that.
He knows what he's doing. He's giving it a go. And he wants that 3rd back. By the way, just an update for those wondering, we have lost 4 cars so far. Miller, Schumacher, Cloud, Suarez are only retirements, which is impressive considering how many we've seen off over the course of this race, as the lap traffic unfortunately didn't work out. Now Hisada sees Laust Olsen's bright blue and yellow machine show up in his mirrors.
And Togo needs to not fall back any further. He's got another lapped car to hopefully hold up John Keefe. As John Keefe, oh, he is not held up. John Keefe goes on the inside, making the pass just before Oak Tree. Not what he would have wanted. And Ian Haycox, he's fallen back again. He's lost 2nd position.
He did when he went off. He allowed Koivisto through. So now he's trying to get 2nd position back from Hideki after his slip up. Man, this is
at this rate, I'm imagining that Franco Scurry is going to probably get back into 3rd.
Well, he's 14 seconds behind, so it'll take a massive problem for Hideki and Ian Haycox for him to try and catch up to these two as they wind through the snake. Coming down to the last few laps, I can report the Trangrade did get by Veal just now. Not that exciting of a pass, and the number 3 into 7th, but that might be the end of his climb as he's still 14 seconds behind Michel de Jong.
And it's going to be My main battle pick is actually going to be for second place, and we can see it on screen right now. That's going to be a lapped car in front of them. Lapped car making a mistake going around the outside of Oak Tree, but lets them to pass. And Acox is going to be trying to absolutely suck in as much slipstream as possible against Hideki Calvisto, closing the gap not very quickly though, only about a 6 km/h difference between the two of them, not enough to catch until the bus stop.
Certainly not. And he's going to get another bite of the apple, at least on the front stretch. As long as he gets a good exit here out of Hogpin. Let's watch and see the green car trying to get the power down. It looks pretty good. This could be another shot. Does Hideki try and defend? Will he have to defend? I thought Haycox would gain quicker than this. It's once again not meant to be.
Ooh, that is a very... Oh, he's swinging around the outside, trying to put Hideki under a modem of pressure. But Hideki covering that inside, making sure that his apex was nice and clean, and made the great move. And that's going to be, I think that's going to be Ian Haycox, looking at the rear end of his younger sibling, elder sibling of Ian, and trying to navigate both these lies. You know, he's got 17 seconds to play with, so he can at least give them the modicum of benefit of trying to get past at the best time possible. And he's chosen it very well. I'm very, very proud.
Just want to make a small correction. Ian's actually Hugh's dad, as yeah, as they allows his son through. Actually, and a very good run here coming out of South Bend. Once again, trying around the outside. But I think that was a little bit of contact, and he hits the wall hard. He's
Remember when Remember when I said Francisco Scurry could get into third? I didn't mean for it to be real.
He gained a lot, but he's still about 6 seconds back. Haycock's got it going. Unless he has serious damage to slow his pace down, I think he's okay. So it's just slipping through the fingers of Ian. And I was about to say, it's an interesting tale because we were very confused at first with the Haycoxes, since Hugh hails from Club France and Ian from Club UK&I. Well, Hugh studies in France, so that's why he is... has that as his club right now, because he is living over there, although he is not originally from there.
I'm just trying to inspect the Haycox's car, and he's actually got quite a major amount of damage on that front left. It does not look just cosmetic, because there's actually panels poking at the wheel, as far as I can see. It's a lot of arch damage as well. You can see, oh, crikey, that's quite a lot of wheel exposure on the back side of that front fender.
Let's hope it doesn't become his arch nemesis and slows him down too much. And these last couple laps, best battle that we've got because of that breaking up now is for 5th in the GTPs. Laust Olsen has Michel de Jong all over that rear wing.
And Michel de Jong is going to try his very damnedest to put Laust Olsen down in 6th, because I'm pretty sure that Jägermeister liveried Michel de Jong, car number 23, is the biggest gain. Yes, he is. He's the biggest gainer so far in GTP class. Or, correction, second biggest. John Keeves is the biggest. 6 positions gained so far. He would love to get it back into 5th with 7 places gained. Be a great race for him if he was able to, but just having to navigate the fact that Laust Olsen is no slouch and is going to defend his damnedest.
Yeah, coming up to Ian Haycox now, just in front of them. But a great exit from Laust Olsen is going to keep Michel de Jong from being able to attack. In fact, he might have that traffic between them. Michel, brave stuff, but he knows this crowd well, and Ian does too. He saw the battle. He stayed off to the side to let them take the racing line. That battle continues.
Just to say, by the way, it's heart in the mouth kind of stuff. I mean, it's heart in the mouth stuff for us because we're looking at it. I'm pretty sure it's heart in the mouth and screams for these guys because they're just trying to navigate. It's so difficult for these lines. By the way, looking at the clock, 1 minute and 15 seconds. So it is going to be the second to last lap, as Hugh Haycox will have enough time to come around once again for the white flag as he comes up past Oak Tree.
Yes, Hugh Haycox, ever since the start of this race, has been basically skittering her way farther and farther from anybody near him. Heitor Sintes Galindo did get up into second after he missed out on that front row in qualifying by 1,000th of a second. And what we thought would be a close fight has wound up being him being all on his lonesome for the majority of the time, too. Then John Keefe looking like he might take a podium, but Hesada still could have something to say about that. It's about a second between those two. And to the line here, just kind of squeezing by Oren Laskin. Hugh Haycox sees the white flag waving from the flag stand. One more to go.
And he can take his time with it as well. 19-second gap. He just needs to bring it home. That's all he needs to do. And, you know, there is this case of saying, well, no, even if it is the white flag round, he needs to race as he has been. But at the same time, so not worth risking a biscuit just to get to the flank quicker if you can hold behind somebody. And I think he's actually got quite the clear track ahead of him, if I can see correctly. He does,
yeah,
actually.
Look at that. Wow. Yeah, that angle really showed us there's nobody around him. Oh, and Hesada's going for it. Just trying to duck underneath of John Keefe, but he can't get the overlap.
John Keefe is going to have one hell of a last lap, because not hell in terms of exceptionally quick, because he's going to have a absolutely determined and great driver, Togo Hesada. We've seen what he can do. He's got the guts and he's got the skills, and he's got John Keefe having to basically hope and pray he sees the checkered flag in third position. He wants this third position, going through the S's, going into 6, 7, 8. Into 9, does he hold it? He does indeed, but Togo Hesada will have the slipstream.
And we got to go to Hugh Haycox, who is past the roller coaster, down the hill, just kicking up a little bit of dirt, still using every inch of track here today. Hugh Haycox is going to be our winner and potentially new championship leader here in the Kamel GT series at VIR.
Very well executed by Hugh Haycox, and by the way, Martioli not too far behind the guys that we were going to be looking at, and that is going to be John Keefe and Togo Hesada. He's on his last stop, by the way, is Martioli. I'd say he's pretty chuffed with himself. I'd say he'd be very happy. Unfortunately for Togo, no, just didn't connect on that final lap. Thought would like to congratulate John Keefe on a well-deserved third place, keeping it nice and tidy. By the way, Laust Olsen and Michel Dijon finished with Laust the better of the two, but they were very close at the end.
And our winner in the GTOs is coming across the line. The 19 takes an unlikely victory here in the Audis. I'm sure he is going to be celebrating hard tonight for that one, because that was fantastic to watch as Trangarate crosses the line just about less than a second ahead of Christian Veal. His recovery only was able to take him up to 7th. That's going to take us to a break. We're going to come back after that with the unofficial results as well as driver interviews, so stick around. Welcome back to Virginia International Raceway. Round 3 in the Kamel GT series was once again worth the price of admission as Hugh Haycox took the victory, and that was about the only calm thing about the lead in any of the classes in this race, as Heitor Sintez Guindo was behind by about 20 seconds and still took P2. John Keefe climbed from 10th up to 3rd, past Togo Hisada, and held him back all the way to the finish. Togo from the front row down to off the podium. It's got to be a little disappointing for him. Laust Olsen was 5th as Michel de Jong finished in P6, climbing up from 12th for him. Ove Trangrade P7 as Christian Viel finished in 8th from 14th in his class. Michael Springer was 9th and Gianluca Gabbiani was P10. Then it was Martin Krejcik in 11th, followed by Fabian Jungbluth, who was a little farther up earlier on but just kept making mistakes. He was P12. Stefan Leslie was the first car lap down in 13th, and John Cope, the last of the prototypes to finish in 14th, taking us to the wild lead battle for the GTOs.
Yeah, the GTOs were basically just a pandemonium of just, if you had one mistake, that was it. You were gone off the track and sliding around. And with Marte Ole just keeping it on track, he did as I asked him to, pathologically, to keep it on track. Marte Ole took the victory. Well deserved from him. Very nice, clean race all throughout. Hideki Visto, even though he did have his own mistakes, still clutched it back to get second place. In 30s was Ian Haycox. Unfortunately, got to go back to the drawing board, try again. He was race winning material out there. Just one mistake, or actually two mistakes, cost him very, very dearly. Camilo Miranda in 4th. Franco Scurry, the biggest mistake and the first one to do it, he's clawed his way back into 5th, so good on him. Mark Ole in 6th. 7th was Jamie Hamill-Smith. 8th, Mika Tupola. 9th in Oren Alaskan. 10th, Michael Haynes. 11th was Simo Raba. Andre Jotel was in 12th. By the way, we do have Joseph Murdoch. He actually did cross the line, even though he had a lot of damage to repair. But the 4 retirees, Pablo Suarez, Douglas Cloud, Andre Schumacher, and Reed Miller.
And it looks like we have our winner in the prototypes ready to talk to us, Hugh Haycox, as this is going to certainly help him in the championship. Not sure if this is going to give him the lead. We'll have to do the math. But Hugh, congratulations. We were so close during stages of this race of having the first time ever father-son winners in the same race.
Yeah, it was close. He was up there. He did good.
Unfortunately, it didn't go well for him, but it did go well for you. You put it on pole, and while everybody else behind seemed to really struggle with the traffic, you were decisive today.
Yeah, I tried to be a lot calmer through traffic than I have been previous weeks, because we've had a bit of a discussion about that, and I think it worked out pretty well. I try to be, overtake on the straights, not dive down the inside of people, and just be a bit more accommodating to the GTOs, which I think worked good.
Yeah, it definitely was better interclass this week than it was in previous weeks, but certainly still looked very, very difficult. How did it feel out there? Because we saw that the track temperatures were quite high the entire time.
Yeah, they were quite high. They were a bit higher than in the week, but it wasn't too bad. It wasn't unknown territory, let's put it that way. It was all right. The grip was still there. It wasn't too bad.
All right. Well, if you want to repeat this one next week, we're heading off to Long Beach. You see yourself faring well at the street course?
Hopefully. Just can't hit a wall.
Yeah, even less room for error there than here. Congratulations. Anybody you want to thank before you go?
Yeah, big thanks to my teammates doing Petit Le Mans right now. They're letting me drive this, and big thanks to Doug as well for making the setups, and of course to you guys for putting on a great show.
Thank you very much. That was Hugh Haycox, our winner here today in the prototypes, with second place being Heitor Sintez Galindo. I believe Robert has caught up with him.
Heitor Sintez Galindo, a great race by yourself. You had a little bit of an issue at the start, but you got back going again. Take us through it.
Well, the start was okay, I guess. I could overtake Togo on the start and then try to pull away and then try to catch up with Hugh. But I knew from the beginning I I couldn't get into pace with him. So the first thing I thought is, okay, let's try to get close to him, wait for him to make a mistake, which he didn't do because he's huge. He's a great racer. And basically then I thought, okay, let's bring the car home. It's P2, and don't get into any of the GTOs. And that's what I did. So I'm more than happy with the result. My second best result in Kamel, along with this other P2 on Monza last season. And so yeah, I'm more than happy with this result.
Yeah, I would be as well. It's a great result, and while it wasn't, it was, as you said to yourself, it's Hugh Haycox is just so fast. But hey, you're not too slow yourself. You're only just 20 seconds, and being honest, it was just traffic was a bit of crazy out there. Did you see any bits of crazy traffic yourself, or were you just keeping nice and tidy and just focusing on lap after lap and just trying to get through it?
Yeah, well, there was a lot of sketchy moments with traffic, especially on after the S's. And basically, there was one moment in which I was behind a group of GTOs, and they were like almost side by side, very close together. And I lost 7 seconds directly from that. So I said, okay, maybe I'm not gonna. I don't want to say this, but perhaps I respect too much GTOs in this regard, but no, it's just I don't want any trouble with them, and so yeah, it's that. Apart from that, it's what I expected from Virginia. So yeah, it's the traffic was a problem. Yeah, it what I expected in the end.
Yeah, but even so. Very, respect is respect gives respect, and you did. And from what I saw of you today, you're very respectful of traffic. I do want to talk through the S's though, in particular. How difficult is it to because we saw it there. You were having to you gave the respect that the other cars deserved, but how difficult is it if you had to get by a car? How difficult is it through the S's to get by a vehicle?
Let's say, for example, I'm behind the GTO at the start of the SS. So what I did is, if I was too far ahead from him, I just waited until after the fast left-hander, or I could just go by before that. It was a very sketchy move. And I'm sure I got a couple GTOs by surprise, but it's difficult. But the thing is, I wanted to respect their line, so it was either that or send it through the left-hander, which wasn't in my let's say my intentions. So yeah.
Of course, yeah. But a great P2 from you, Aitor. Hope to see you again back here again. Do you have any thanks you'd like to give anyone making this possible?
Yeah, I have a lot of thanks actually. First of all, my family, mom, dad, and my sister who are watching this probably. My teammate Ferran who made this great setup, which I was so fast today. And of course, you guys, GSRC, we will make a great job and all this racing, all these interviews and everything. So yeah, I'm more than delighted with your job.
Pleasure as always to interview you, Aitor, and congratulations. We hope to see you next week.
Thank you, guys. See you soon.
All right, take care. Back to you, Joe.
That brings us to third place, John Keefe. And talk about turning things around. John, 13th last week, a podium this week. It looks like you've got it under control now.
Yeah, VIR is one of my favorite tracks of all time. So anytime we get to run here, excuse me, I just there's just something about this track that agrees with me.
Yeah,
I'm pretty happy with that.
You should be. I was going to say, I went back to review things before you came in, and I was pretty astonished that you went from 10th to 7th just on the first lap and then continued to pick them off. How did you manage that there on lap 1?
It seems like this is like really a this is gonna probably sound silly, but it's really a momentum track. Getting out of some of the tighter S curves, if you can roll a ton of speed through there without, scrubbing it off with sliding around, you can really kind of make it pretty easy in some cases. With everyone being bunched up, obviously, in the beginning, you can kind of pick them off one at a time a little easier. But then when you have to run someone down and then execute, that's where it gets really difficult. So I just love this place.
But that's exactly what you did at the end. You caught Togo Hisada, and sadly, we didn't really get to focus on it because everything happened at the same time elsewhere on the track. You went around the outside of the horseshoe to take third place. How did you manage that?
Really tiptoey on both pedals, brake and gas. And I was just able to just carry a little more momentum, then had the inside line coming up to the next section, and that was that. That was a really fun battle. Hats off to him. That was a really good, clean battle. Really enjoyed that.
We enjoyed it too. Congratulations on a third. Anybody you want to give a shout out to while we got you?
Just the entire, Camel community. Sometimes we don't all see eye to eye, but I think we're a great group of guys.
Yeah, I think hopefully this week has turned some of that around, as I know there was some tensions bubbling up. Congratulations, Sean. And that was our third place finisher here today. And I believe our last interview. Unfortunately, none of our GTO drivers wanted to come and talk. So let's close out with our own thank you to the Kamel GT community for bringing us back for another season of coverage. And a thank you to the companies that provide the software and hardware for our broadcast listed here on your screen. Additional thanks go to June Lalonde, who provides our wonderful music. Check out her Bandcamp for more awesome work. And thanks to the team today, Rob, Zach, and Dougie. You can find more info about GSRC at globalsimracingchannel.com or through our social media. And check out our merchandise store at simracingmerch.com/GSRC. There's a link down there in the description. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss a moment, because as we said, going to be a fun one next week, going to Long Beach. If you thought this was chaotic, imagine the two classes there. That'll be October 9th at 1 p.m. Eastern. We have upcoming races for other series listed on the screen. Check those out. Mark them down on your calendar. Just a little time. We're off to Oran Park for the Formula V Weekend Warriors. That'll be at 4 p.m. Eastern. Until next time, race clean, race hard. We'll see you on the track.